2020 was shaping up to be an enormous year at the cinemas for Walt Disney Studios, until this happened. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, so we're all obviously living in a really weird time right now. You don't need me to remind you of that. And with Disney only mere weeks away from launching some of their most hotly anticipated titles, they were left with no other option than to postpone them indefinitely. As we've all been sitting around ruminating the fate of some of their biggest releases, will they be released in theaters? Will they be dumped on Disney Plus? We've finally been given a slight glimmer of hope as the company has released a newly updated theatrical release schedule. In this latest installment of my Disney movie preview videos, I'll go over all the updated details on Disney's release schedule up to and including 2022, including those from Disney Pictures, Disney Animation, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars, highlighting the brand new release slots for the affected films. Please note, for simplification, I'll strictly be speaking US release dates. Before we get into this, don't forget to hit that like button. It does wonders in getting my content out there, and additionally, weigh in down in the comments below letting me know which films you're most disappointed to see delayed. With that, there is a lot to cover here, so let's get into it. So, we all know that the large majority of 2020 is an enormous write-off at this point, with the biggest releases of the year's first half postponed. With that in mind, let's firstly take a look at how the remainder of 2020 looks for us. Our next Disney release for the year should be Pixar's Soul, which at this point has managed to hold tight to its original release date. To me, this seems a little bit optimistic on Disney's part. I'm not too sure if cinemas are going to be open by June, and I honestly really wouldn't be surprised to see it sometime soon get bumped until maybe the end of the year or until next year sometime, depending how this crisis pans out over the coming months. Soul will star Jamie Foxx as newly deceased Joe and Tina Fey as disgruntled Soul 22, who helps him return to his body on Earth after his untimely death brings him to the great before. It is the first Pixar film to star a black lead and feature a predominantly black cast, and is directed by Monsters Inc. Up and Inside Out director Pete Docter. Next up, on July 24, 2020, taking the release slot originally held by Disney's Jungle Cruise, is Disney's Mulan. This was the first major Disney film to be postponed and was, at the time of the publication of this video, supposed to have opened in cinemas just last week. The movie is set to take a more serious look at the legend of Mulan, while maintaining Disney's fantastical vibes. Unlike the animation, it will not be a musical. Early reports from the film's premiere screening, which was held just 1 week before its postponement, were overly positive. The film stars Liu Yifei as Mulan alongside Donnie Yen, Jet Li, Jason Scott Lee, Li Gong, and Rosalind Chow. It is directed by Whale Rider director Nikki Caro. Disney's Artemis Fowl, originally set for August 9, 2019 and later bumped to May 7, 2020, has now been dumped from the theatrical schedule altogether, instead with a debut on Disney Plus set for the summer of 2020 on a date which is yet to be announced. I've been saying for months that Disney Plus is the right place for this movie. Its troubled past speaks volumes of the company's faith in the product, and given that Disney's recent originals such as Nutcracker and Wrinkle in Time absolutely tanked at the box office, this one seems ripe for another failure. I wouldn't be surprised if this move had been deliberated by Disney before this crisis, but whatever the case, it's good to see them just cutting their losses on this one. The film is based on the Artemis Fowl novels, focusing on the titular criminal mastermind, and looks to feature Matrix-style action-adventure sci-fi fantasy. It will star Ferdia Shaw in the title role, alongside a cast including Colin Farrell, Judi Dench, and Josh Gad. The film is directed by Cinderella and Thor director Kenneth Branagh. Another one gripping onto its original release slot is the one and only Ivan, based on the eponymous book by Catherine Applegate. Ivan will now be Disney's single original feature to be released theatrically in 2020. That is, unless it also gets a bump to Disney Plus at a later date, which is certainly possible, given that we still haven't seen any official stills or trailers for this one. While the book is a fantasy adventure, it is based on the true story of a gorilla who was kept in a cage at a mall for 27 years. It will star Bryan Cranston in a live-action role, and the voices of Angelina Jolie, Helen Mirren, Danny DeVito, and Sam Rockwell. It's directed by Me Before You director Thea Sharrock and produced by Angelina Jolie. Disney recently announced that they had picked up distribution on Peter Jackson's in-the-works Beatles documentary Get it back and will release it under their own banner on the new release slot of September 4, 2020. The film charts the tumultuous 1969 recordings of the Beatles' final released album, Let It Be, drawn from more than 55 hours worth of footage, previously used in the 1969 film of the same name. Disney will also reissue a remastered version of the original 1969 film. Next up, Marvel Studios' Black Widow will open on November 6, 2020, bumped from its original May 1, 2020 release, and taking the slot originally held by the studio's The Eternals, meaning 2020 will only receive a single Marvel Studios release. No word yet regarding delays on this year's planned Disney Plus series. The film will kick off the MCU's fourth phase with a prequel of sorts set between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, focusing on Natasha Romanoff's return to Russia to tie up old business from her scattered past. It will of course star Scarlett Johansson in her first MCU starring role, alongside Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz and David Harbour. The studio's final release for the year, still opening on its original release date of November 25, 2020, will be Raya and the Last Dragon, an original animated epic fantasy adventure inspired by the beautiful, diverse cultures of Southeast Asia. The movie will be set on an ancient, reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization that venerates and worships dragons, and we'll see lead character Raya, a fearless and passionate lone warrior, on a quest to find the last dragon, Sisu. The film will star Cassie Steele as Raya and Awkwafina as Sisu. It is to be directed by Frozen and Big Hero 6 story artists Paul Briggs and Dean Wellens. Following the 2020 shake-up, 2021 will not come out unscathed, with an enormous slate of changes also resulting. Up first will be Marvel Studios' The Eternals on February 12, 2021, again moving from its original November 6, 2020 release slot and taking that originally held by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Eternals is the first installment of a new franchise in the MCU and will focus on the immortal race of supreme beings who were an offshoot of the evolutionary process created by the Celestials. It's rumoured the film will be a prequel taking place millions of years in the past and will see the Eternals travelling to Earth to protect it from their rivals, the Deviants. The film's ensemble cast will be headlined by Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Gemma Chan, Kit Harington, Kumail Nanjiani and Salma Hayek. It will be directed by Chloe Zhao. May 7, 2021 will see the release of yet another MCU outing, with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings moving from its February 12 slot into one originally held by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The film will introduce us to yet another new hero and potential franchise, Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu, the MCU's first leading Asian hero. The movie will see Shang-Chi go head-to-head with terrorist organisation The Ten Rings, who have threads in the MCU going right back to the first film, Iron Man. The film will also mark the long-awaited first appearance of the MCU's real Mandarin. The film will star Simu Liu as Shang-Chi and Tony Leung as the Mandarin. It will be directed by short-term 12 director Destin Cretton. Next up, on the 28th of May 2021, live-action reboot Cruella will cling tightly to its original date. The film will star Emma Stone in the lead role and act as a prequel to 101 Dalmatians. It's unconfirmed whether the film will be linked to the live-action Dalmatians remakes of the 1990s and early 2000s starring Glenn Close, but with Disney revealing that the film will be set in the 1970s before Cruella was terrorising the puppies of London, the timelines seem like they could match up. The film looks to have a 70s steampunk vibe and could be similar in style to Maleficent. Emma Thompson, Paul Walter Hauser and Joel Fry will co-star, and I, Tonya director Craig Gillespie will direct. One of the biggest shifts on the slate is Disney's Jungle Cruise, moving into a slot originally held for an unannounced Disney live action on July 30, 2021, an entire year past its previously scheduled July 24, 2020 release. This untitled slot is one rumoured to be taken up by The Little Mermaid, whose production has also been postponed due to this crisis. This is actually the second shift for Jungle Cruise, which was originally set for an October 2019 release, though it's believed that the original change was due to Disney being being so impressed with the film that they wanted a summer opening for it. The film is based on the classic Disney Parks attraction of the same name and inspired by grand adventure films. The film sees a steamboat captain hired by a British explorer to head a research mission that will take them into the darkest regions of the Amazon jungle, where they come face to face with supernatural entities. This is one of my most anticipated films and the one I'm most disappointed to see knocked back, especially so damn far. It will star Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt, Paul Giamatti, Jesse Plemons, and Jack Whitehall. It is directed by unknown non-stop and commuter director Wam Colette Serra. On October 22, 2021, a brand new release date, Disney will bring a newly recorded on-stage performance of Lin-Manuel Miranda's Broadway smash Hamilton to the screen. The film, which again is an on-stage filming and not a Hollywood blockbuster adaptation, will star the stage show's original cast who no longer perform the show. Next up, on November 5, 2021, is Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange sequel, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, moving from May 7 and taking up the slot originally held by Thor: Love and Thunder. Again, the details on this one are slim, but it's set to return Benedict Cumberbatch to the role of Dr. Stephen Strange and team him up with Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch. The film will be set in the immediate aftermath of Disney Plus's upcoming WandaVision series and is said to be the MCU's first horror movie. The first film's director Scott Derrickson was originally attached to direct the film, however dropped out of the production only a number of months ago. Rumours have been swirling, however, that the original Spider-Man trilogy director Sam Raimi has been approached to direct the film. Of course, this current crisis is changing day by day, and it's quite possible this schedule could still be moved around a number of times in the future. It's worth noting that Disney currently have 2 release slots for unannounced live-action films on March 12 and November 19, 2021, which they could use to move some releases around, or again utilize to release The Little Mermaid. There's also the question of whether Soul will remain a 2020 release. If it gets pushed, it's possible it could take Raya's November 2020 slot, or simply be moved to an open June 18, 2020 release slot for an unannounced Pixar film. Likewise, there is a November 24, 2021 slot for an unannounced Disney animation that can also be utilized too if Soul and Raya end up shuffling about. There is, of course, every chance that all of these unannounced slots will be utilized for currently unannounced or untitled titles if things start taking a more positive shape. While 2022 is mostly made up of slots for currently unannounced films, the mix-up has given us a few titles to look forward to throughout the year. 2022 will kick off with yet another Marvel Studios film, the 4th installment in the Thor franchise, Thor: Love and Thunder, on February 18, 2022, taking a release slot previously set for an unannounced Marvel Studios film, which I previously speculated would most likely be Captain Marvel 2. Love and Thunder is set to star Chris Hemsworth once again as Thor and Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Natalie Portman will also return to her role of Jane Foster, marking her first appearance since 2013's Thor: The Dark World, with exception of course, an Avengers Endgame cameo, but that was taken directly from deleted Dark World footage. The film will see Foster wield the mighty Mjolnir as the first female Thor on the big screen. It will be written and directed by Ragnarok helmer Taika Waititi. May 6, 2022 is where things start to even back out again, for Marvel Studios at least, with Black Panther 2 clawing onto its original release slot. Very scarce details have been released on this one, though Chadwick Boseman is set to return to the role of T'Challa, the Black Panther of Wakanda, and the original film's director, Ryan Coogler, is back on board to direct. July 8, 2022 will see yet another Marvel Studios release, with Captain Marvel 2 taking the slot originally reserved for 2022's second unannounced Marvel film, which I think was probably Guardians 3. This is the first time Captain Marvel 2 has officially appeared on a Disney release schedule, however it was previously announced. Absolutely no details have been released just yet on the film, but it will once again star Brie Larson in the role of Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Next up, Lucasfilm sets yet another release date for its troubled 5th Indiana Jones film. Originally announced for July 19, 2019, then pushed back to July 10, 2020, then pushed back to July 9, 2021, the film is once again pushed back to July 29, 2022. This will be the first Indiana Jones film since 2008's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, leaving a 14-year gap between the films. Steven Spielberg was originally set set to direct, but after numerous pushbacks and script passes, he dropped out of the project earlier in the year. Harrison Ford is pegged to return as a likely incredibly dithery Indiana Jones, though with Ford pushing 80, one wonders how long he'll stay interested in this project or even be physically able to partake in it. If any of the films on this schedule get cancelled in the near future, I'm betting it's this one. On December 16, 2022, Lucasfilm has kept its previously announced release date for the first installment in the next Star Wars trilogy. The film was initially meant to be the first in a trilogy helmed by Last Jedi director Rian Johnson, though rumours persist that he may no longer be involved in any capacity. Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were then set to helm this trilogy before exiting the project in late 2019. No announcement on story or new filmmakers have since been announced, though the new trilogy is expected to focus on a new timeline and new characters separate from the Star Wars saga. Once again, if this thing even ever eventuates. With 8 unannounced films still on Disney's schedule for 2022, ranging from Disney to Pixar to Marvel, there'll be plenty of other exciting adventures to jump into throughout the year, ones hopefully unaffected by the current crisis. And at that, we wrap our look at the newly reshuffled Disney release schedule, and I'm going to throw it over to you. How do you feel about the new look changes? Happy? Disappointed? What are your most anticipated releases and the ones you're most bummed to see knocked back? Fire away in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos and you'd like to see more like it in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen, as well as that like button down below for that little extra support. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.